Imagine the moment your child's laughter fades into silence forever. 1 second, the bright orange shirt flashes in the sunlight as little Ethan waves goodbye from the bus window. The next, the vehicle, and every child with special needs aboard, simply evaporates into the vast, whispering green maze of the Everglades. No scream, no crash, no trace. Just absence. That void swallowed 12 souls on a seemingly ordinary Wednesday morning in Everglades National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site famed for its biodiversity, but infamous in this fictionalized yet cautionary tale for becoming the stage of unimaginable parental terror. Sarah Miller, Ethan's mother, stood frozen in her kitchen, coffee cup trembling, when the first call came. The bus never returned. In that instant, the ordinary rhythms of life, school runs, therapy sessions, bedtime stories, shattered like glass underfoot. The story begins not with mystery alone, but with the raw physics of grief, how one disappearance can bend time, stretching 48 hours into an eternity where every tick of the clock feels like betrayal by the universe itself. Sarah was no stranger to challenge. Ethan, her 10-year-old with developmental delays, epilepsy, and a love for dinosaurs that lit his face like sunrise, had taught her patience forged in hospital waiting rooms and IEP meetings. Yet nothing prepared her for this. The special needs class from Oak Ridge Private Academy, an elite institution charging $40,000 yearly for tailored education, had embarked on an accessible boardwalk tour, a reward for good behavior and progress. The park, spanning 1.5 million acres of wetlands, mangroves, and sawgrass prairies, offers lessons in adaptation. Alligators thrive by lying still, birds migrate vast distances on instinct, orchids bloom in air alone. The children, many in wheelchairs or using communication devices, were meant to learn empathy for nature's differences. Instead, the trip became a mirror of human vulnerability. The bus driver, Carlos Mendez, a 12-year veteran with spotless record, vanished with them. Two teachers, Ms. Johnson and Ms. Torres, accompanied. Only Mr. Wilson remained behind due to seating limits. He paced the visitor center, phone calls unanswered, distress mounting. Detective Garcia's conference room became Sarah's new reality. Fluorescent buzz, stale coffee rings marking endless hours, whiteboards listing timelines like accusations. An entire bus doesn't disappear. Mark, Ethan's father, repeated, voice cracking. Garcia outlined facts clinically. No tire tracks off-route initially, no distress signals, aerial sweeps yielding nothing. Sarah stared at Ethan's school photo. Crooked smile, thick glasses sliding, cowlick defiant despite her morning combing. Each detail stabbed. He hated unfamiliar places, needed routine like oxygen. Several classmates were nonverbal. 3 required full-time wheelchairs. How could they vanish voluntarily? The philosophical question emerged early. What does safety truly mean when trust in systems, schools, parks, drivers collapses? Historical parallels haunted the edges. In 1976, the Chowchilla kidnapping saw 26 California children buried alive in a van underground. They dug out through collective will and a child's memory of stars above a vent hole. Survival often hides in small, stubborn acts of remembering who we are. Vocabulary moment. Aberration, noun. A departure from the normal or typical. Here, the disappearance was an aberration in park safety protocols, reminding us that anomalies demand scrutiny, not dismissal. Idiom. Vanish into thin air. Disappear completely without explanation. Yet in the Everglades, nothing truly vanishes. The swamp remembers, preserves, reveals slowly. Sarah's emotional arc deepened. From denial, they must be lost, to bargaining, if I pray harder, to the first flicker of rage at the system's impotence. Mark squeezed her hand under the table, his analytical mind, honed as an engineer, searching for patterns. Wealthy families targeted? Inside job? The exclusive tuition suggested motive, echoing real-world cases where privilege paradoxically invites predation. As 48 hours ticked, hope frayed. Park rangers, volunteers, drones with thermal imaging combed miles. Then the call. Wheelchairs found dumped in a remote slough, semicircle arrangement deliberate, almost ritualistic. 2 bodies, Sophie Jacobson, 9, cerebral palsy, and Ms. Johnson, execution-style gunshots. Sarah's world tilted, shameful relief, not Ethan, warred with guilt. The staged scene screamed message. We control what you find. Philosophical teaching. Adversity exposes character. The parents' collective grief transformed into fierce determination. James Whittaker offered half the future ransom himself. Rebecca Chin vowed to sell her home. Modern relevance to English learners. Crisis narratives build advanced vocabulary organically. Perpetrators, forensics, alibi, while teaching empathy through dialogue. Universal wisdom. Love for a child transcends biology. It becomes a force that defies logic, geography, even death. The chapter closes on dawn breaking over the swamp, long shadows from empty wheelchairs stretching like fingers accusing the sky. Sarah whispered, "He's alive. I'd feel it if he wasn't." Yet doubt crept. What if intuition fails when evil wears a familiar face? What hidden strength awakens in you when everything you love seems lost forever? The email arrived like a guillotine blade. $2 million cash, unmarked bills, 24 hours, or another child dies every 12. Attached photo showed 8 remaining children and Ms. Reyes huddled on concrete. Ethan's orange shirt unmistakable. Glasses gone. Tear tracks carving clean paths down dirty cheeks. Sarah reached toward the screen instinctively, fingers brushing pixels, as if she could pull him through. Agent Daniels, FBI lead, delivered the news clinically. No negotiation policy. Payments fund future crimes. Parents erupted. Whittaker slammed the table. Chen wept openly. Philosophical core. Justice versus mercy. Decades of hostage data prove ransoms rarely guarantee survival, yet when your child's face stares back, statistics become cruelty. Inside knowledge surfaced. Detailed financials in the demand, stock portfolios, property valuations, not public data. Suspicions turned inward. Mr. Wilson, the excluded teacher, gained protective custody, perhaps deliberately sidelined as a witness. Ms. Torres and Ms. Johnson once trusted. Now one dead, the other, questions lingered. Sarah returned home briefly, Ethan's room a shrine. Lego dinosaurs half-built, medication drawer organized by color. She gathered pills, anti-seizure drugs critical, knowing captors likely ignorant of dosages. The phone rang. Digitally altered voice offered individual deal, $500,000 for Ethan alone. Proof of life text followed. Today's newspaper, timestamp fresh. Ethan terrified but breathing. Coordinates arrived. Sarah's moral dilemma crystallized. Obey FBI, risk all children, or act alone, risk everything for one? Historical echo. In Chowchilla, children freed themselves without ransom. Collective action triumphed over despair. Vocabulary. Leverage, noun. Something giving power to influence. Kidnappers used selective killings for leverage. Idiom. Play on heartstrings. Exploit emotions. The individual call targeted Sarah's maternal instinct ruthlessly. She liquidated jewelry. Engagement ring symbolizing vows now tested. Gathered $70,000 cash, bank limit. Tucked Mark's Glock in her purse. Note to Mark lied vaguely. Driving to the warehouse, paranoia reigned. Every car a tale, every shadow a watcher. The abandoned portside building reeked of rust and mildew. Chemical tang hinting industrial past. Ducking under the loading door felt like crossing into another realm. 3 masked men emerged. Scarred leader calm, military posture. Shorter one counted cash, sneered at shortfall. Ethan wheeled in, bound, taped, eyes wide with recognition. Sarah's plea for medication met cold calculation. Insufficient payment meant new leverage. Take her instead. As agreement formed, harbor location with the others. Slip Sarah noted. Sirens wailed. FBI tactical breach. Gunfire erupted. Sarah shielded Ethan. Took a bullet to the shoulder. Pain white-hot, yet maternal ferocity prevailed. She freed him, hid behind crates, whispered survival instructions. Mark's arrival, triggered by bank alert and phone tracking, completed the circle. Philosophical lesson. Desperation breeds both folly and heroism. Sarah's solo act, though risky, provided the harbor clue, saving the rest. English learning tie. Action sequences build tense verbs, lunged, whirled, collapsed, and prepositions of movement. Universal wisdom. One person's sacrifice ripples outward. Sarah's wound bought time for dozens. When does protecting one become saving many? And how do you know the difference in the heat of crisis? Hospital recovery brought clarity amid morphine haze. Ethan safe, hugging carefully around bandages, Mark's hand steady on hers. Detective Garcia revealed, harbor raid freed 8 children, several suspects arrested, including Ms. Torres. The trusted teacher, years in special education, harbored gambling debts to dangerous creditors. She leaked records, chose the trip date, even helped stage wheelchairs as distraction. No remorse shown in interrogation. Philosophical gut punch. Evil often wears kindness first. Trust, once shattered, rebuilds slowly, if ever. Historical parallel. Institutional betrayals recur. Dozier School for Boys Abuses, Florida Reform School horrors, unmarked graves, beatings, showed authority figures harming vulnerable children. Torres motive, debt, echoed desperation turning lethal. Children's conditions varied. Dehydration, missed medications, psychological trauma. Ethan needed therapy. Seizures averted thanks to Sarah's forethought. Parents reunited in waves of joy and grief. Sophie and Ms. Johnson mourned forever. Sarah's wound healed slowly, scar a permanent reminder. Emotional arc. From victim to survivor, Sarah channeled pain into advocacy, pushing school background checks, special needs safety protocols. Vocabulary. Complicity, noun, involvement in wrongdoing. Torres' complicity shattered community trust. Idiom. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Danger disguised as safety. A timeless warning. Modern English relevance. Discussing betrayal builds complex sentence structures. Although she appeared dedicated, evidence revealed. Universal wisdom. Forgiveness is possible, forgetting is optional. Boundaries protect future vulnerability. The children's resilience shown. Some nonverbal children use devices to express gratitude. Ethan drew dinosaurs for rescuers. Group therapy sessions fostered bonds forged in fire. Sarah reflected. Disability teaches society adaptation. Crisis teaches individuals compassion. Who do you trust when the people closest turn out to be the danger? And how do you rebuild faith afterward? Recovery stretched months. Physical therapy rebuilt Sarah's shoulder. Psychological counseling mended minds. Ethan feared buses, loud noises. Gradual exposure helped. Families formed support networks, fundraisers for therapy, memorials for Sophie and Ms. Johnson. Philosophical depth. Suffering carves space for growth. Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor, taught meaning emerges from response to pain. Here, parents chose advocacy over bitterness. Everglades symbolism deepened. The swamp, once terror, became classroom again, safely guided tours teaching resilience in nature. Children learned alligators survive by stillness, humans by connection. English learning, reflective essays on trauma use past perfect, they had been held for days before rescue, and conditionals, if we had paid earlier, perhaps. Vocabulary, resilience, noun. Ability to recover, catharsis, noun. Emotional release through expression. Universal wisdom. Community heals what isolation destroys. Sarah testified in court, voice steady describing warehouse horror, empowering others. Torres convicted. Sentences long. Yet justice felt incomplete. Lost time irreplaceable. Ethan's progress, new friends, returning smile, became victory. What scars do you carry that, when shared, becomes strength for someone else? Recovery stretched months. Physical therapy rebuilt Sarah's shoulder. Psychological counseling mended minds. Ethan feared buses, loud noises. Gradual exposure helped. Families formed support networks, fundraisers for therapy, memorials for Sophie and Ms. Johnson. Philosophical depth. Suffering carves space for growth. Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor, taught meaning emerges from response to pain. Here, Parents chose advocacy over bitterness. Everglades symbolism deepened. The swamp, once terror, became classroom again, safely guided tours teaching resilience in nature. Children learned alligators survive by stillness, humans by connection. English learning, reflective essays on trauma use past perfect, they had been held for days before rescue, and conditionals, if we had paid earlier, perhaps. Vocabulary, resilience, noun. Ability to recover, catharsis, noun. Emotional release through expression. Universal wisdom, community heals what isolation destroys. Sarah testified in court, voice steady describing warehouse horror, empowering others. Torres convicted. Sentences long. Yet justice felt incomplete. Lost time irreplaceable. Ethan's progress, new friends, returning smile, became victory. What scars do you carry that, when shared, becomes strength for someone else? Years later, Sarah spoke at schools. Vigilance matters, love endures. Ethan, teen now, advocated for disability rights, his voice strong despite early silence. Philosophical culmination. Adversity reveals essence. Everglades endures floods yet blooms. Humans endure loss yet love again. Historical tie. Chowchilla survivors formed lifelong bonds. Here, families did too. English mastery. Narrative tenses mix for storytelling depth, persuasive language. We must demand better. Hones argument skills. Vocabulary. Redemption, noun. Recovery of worth. Perseverance, noun. Continued effort despite difficulty. Idiom. Turn the page. Move forward after hardship. Universal wisdom. Darkness defines light. Pain forges purpose. Sarah's final reflection. Ethan's hug each morning reminds her, survival is collective, love infinite.